Have you ever gazed up at a towering mountain, or felt the immense power of the ocean and wondered about the forces that shaped our world? Long before the famed Olympian gods like Zeus and Hera, there were other, more primal deities ruling the cosmos. They were the Titans, giants of immense power who were born from the very fabric of creation. Today, we journey back to the dawn of time to witness the birth of these incredible beings. Get ready, because this story is truly epic. It all begins in the swirling, formless chaos that existed before anything else. From this void, two primordial beings emerged: Uranus, the starry sky, and Gaia, the bountiful earth. Uranus showered Gaia with fertile rain, and from their union, the first generation of divine beings was born. But these weren't the graceful gods we often picture. Their first children were the Cyclopes, one-eyed giants who were master craftsmen, and the Hecatoncheires, fearsome creatures with 100 hands and 50 heads each. Uranus, however, was a paranoid and cruel father. He was terrified by the immense power and monstrous appearance of his children. He couldn't stand the sight of them. So, in an act of supreme cruelty, he imprisoned both the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, thrusting them deep into the darkest abyss of the earth, a place known as Tartarus. This caused Gaia immense pain, both emotionally for her children and physically, as they were trapped within her very body. Her groans of anguish echoed through the silent cosmos. Heartbroken and enraged, Gaia decided she could no longer endure Uranus's tyranny. She fashioned a great, unyielding sickle from the hardest flint within her and sought out her next children, the ones who were yet to be imprisoned. These were the 12 Titans, 6 male and 6 female. They were more humanoid in appearance than their older siblings, but their power was no less formidable. Gaia gathered them and pleaded for one of them to stand against their father. "My children," she implored, "your father has committed a terrible crime. You must help me punish him for his wickedness, or we will all suffer under his rule forever." But most of the Titans were seized by fear. They knew their father's power and were terrified to challenge him. The vastness of the sky god was intimidating, and his authority seemed absolute. A heavy silence fell among them, and for a moment it seemed that no one would dare to act. But then one voice broke the silence. It was Cronus, the youngest and most ambitious of the Titans. He looked at his grieving mother, felt her pain, and a fierce resolve grew within him. "Mother," he said, stepping forward, "I am not afraid. I will do what must be done. I will end his reign of terror and bring justice for you and our imprisoned brothers." His words were filled with a courage that inspired his siblings. Gaia's heart swelled with a mix of pride and relief. She handed Cronus the mighty flint sickle. That night they set their plan in motion. As Uranus descended from the heavens to embrace Gaia, as he did every night, several of the Titans, led by Cronus, lay in ambush. They sprang from their hiding places, grabbing their father and holding him down. Then, with one swift and terrible blow, Cronus used the sickle to overthrow Uranus, severing his connection to the earth and ending his tyrannical rule forever. From this cosmic act of rebellion, a new era was born. The age of the Titans had begun. Cronus, the liberator, now sat on the throne as the new king of the universe. He and his siblings, Suinus, the world-encircling river, Hyperion, the lord of light, Cus, the titan of intellect, Crius and Iapetus, control, the titaness Rhea, the mother of gods, they, the lady of sight, Mnemosyne, the mother of the muses, Phoebe, the bright one, and Themis, the embodiment of divine law and order, ruled alongside them. With Uranus banished, Cronus and his siblings freed their monstrous brothers, the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheires, from Tartarus, just as they had promised Gaia. The world, for a time, knew a kind of order under the rule of the 12 Titans. They represented the fundamental forces of nature: the sun, the moon, the oceans, memory, and natural law. They weren't just rulers. They were the world in its raw, untamed form. Their reign is often called the Golden Age, a time of prosperity and peace. However, the seeds of destruction were sown in the very act of Cronus's rise to power. As Uranus was defeated, he cursed his son, prophesying that Cronus, too, would be overthrown by his own child. This prophecy would haunt Cronus, twisting his mind with the same paranoia that had consumed his father. The cycle of fear, betrayal, and rebellion was destined to repeat itself. And that is where the next chapter of this incredible saga begins, the story of how Cronus, fearing his father's curse, would go on to swallow his own children, leading to the rise of a new generation of gods, the Olympians, and the great war that would shake the heavens. But that's a story for another time. The birth of the Titans shows us that even in mythology, power is never permanent, and the fight for freedom can have unforeseen consequences. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to the dawn of mythology. It's a powerful reminder of the incredible stories that have shaped human culture for thousands of years. If you enjoyed this dive into the past, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the world of myths and legends. See you next time.